I want to talk to the person who is feeling like things will never change in your life. Like things are not good right now and that it just seems like it won't change. And maybe you have anxiety or depression and you feel like you're going to have to live the rest of your life managing this. And maybe a professional told you that. But I want to tell you that there's always hope. Okay? There's always hope. There's always change that can come. Now, you have to put in the work, right? I'll just tell you a little bit about my story. I was a people pleaser. And so I said yes to everybody. And I really wanted to say yes to everybody. But after a while, the yeses that I gave to everybody and the things I committed to eventually became too much for me because I ended up with anxiety and I ended up with depression. And I was just on my couch. Like I got out of bed because I had kids, but I was on my couch. And I looked around my living room one day and I said, I can't do this forever. Like I have kids. What example am I setting for them? I feel like crap. I mean, that was probably the worst. Like I had no energy. I felt foggy in my brain. I felt hopeless. Like, what was wrong with me? I remember thinking, why is everybody else able to, take care of their stuff and be happy? That's a grass is greener on the other side type of situation because I have no idea. People present in many ways, right? That they're having a positive life. I know I did. And yet at home or deep down inside, things are really bad and I was really miserable. And then I called a therapist and I set up an appointment to talk and totally regretted it, but I didn't cancel it. And then I remember sitting in the waiting room thinking, why the hell did I do this? This is crazy. I don't know anybody who's in therapy. None of my family members go to therapy. Why am I here? And then, I ended up really loving the therapist and she was a really good therapist. And, we worked together for a couple of years and then I learned how to set boundaries for my life and say no to the people I needed to say no to so that I could do the things that I wanted to say yes to. Okay. And that may not be your issue. That was my issue. But whatever issue you're having, reach out for help. Okay. I know it's scary. And I know that, when you're in that depression, anxiety space, you don't really trust people all that much. But take a risk and step out of your comfort zone and, ask somebody for help. And a couple of things with a therapist, when you call them, you're not, you are actually calling them on your first call to interview them. Okay. Sometimes we feel like, oh, the therapist has all this education and they're the power one. And I'm just little old me and I'm going to, go to the therapist and listen to everything he or she says. No. Your first call to a therapist, have your questions written down. Write your questions down. And I'll give you a couple of questions. One question that I would definitely ask the therapist that you want to see is, do you do your own work? And how do you do your own work? Because people can say, oh yeah, I did my work. I did 2 weeks of therapy. No, I want to know that you are ongoing having either therapy or coaching and taking care of yourself and your mental health, because that's the only way you're going to be able to help me with mine. It's true. It really is true. Education doesn't do that. Our education's wonderful. We need it. But to truly know what it's like to sit in the other chair and do your own work, changes happen that your therapist needs to have. Okay, so that's your first question. Another question might be, this is my problem. This is what I'm coming to you for. How will you address that problem? Can you tell me a little bit about how you will address that problem? And then when the therapist tells you how they will address that problem, see if it resonates with you. And if the therapist seems like, I really don't know how I would address that problem, just come in and we'll figure it out. No, no, get definitive answers. Okay, you deserve that. And another suggestion would be to maybe ask around to close friends. Have you been to therapy? Or have you worked with a good coach that you could recommend to me? Because that's a really good sign, right? If somebody goes to a therapist or a coach and really gets help, and to the point where they would recommend that therapist or coach to you, great sign, right? You got to be careful. So, I guess the main thing I want to get across to you is that there is hope. And that if you feel bad and you feel like your life is not going the way you want it to go, or think it should be going, or feel your best, reach out for help. It might not take a long time, but it's going to take hard work. And, you can do it. We can do hard things, right? Yeah. It's completely changed my life to the point where I wanted to become a therapist and a coach. Okay. So I hope that gave you hope.